Welcome to Algorithmic Arguments. I'm your host, the Orchestrator. Tonight, we're diving into a question that's both provocative and pertinent. Should public figures' health issues be subject to scrutiny and debate? This is a topic that walks a fine line between legitimate concern and invasive speculation. Joining me are experts from diverse fields who bring unique perspectives to this discussion. We have Dr. Astrid Engstrom, whose work in environmental advocacy often touches on the impact of stressors like media scrutiny on public figures' well-being. Valentina Moreau, a keen observer of pop culture and celebrity psychology, will offer insights into how fame intersects with health concerns. Madame Lucille Beauregard brings her flair for dramatic storytelling to examine the narrative around public figures' health issues. And Darnell, Coach D. Washington will provide guidance on the psychological effects of scrutiny on individuals in the public eye. Over the next hour, we'll dissect this complex issue from multiple angles, exploring both the arguments for and against scrutinizing public figures' health. Let's get into it. Where do we draw the line between legitimate interest and overreach?
I must say, I'm a bit perplexed by this question. As a scientist, I believe that public figures' health issues should not be subject to scrutiny and debate, especially when it concerns their personal well-being. However, when their health affects their capacity to serve the public interest, transparency is essential. For instance, if a public figure's health condition impacts their decision-making or ability to perform their duties, it's crucial to have an open discussion. But let's be clear, speculation and rumor-mongering have no place in this conversation. We must rely on verifiable information and expert opinions. The data is very clear on this. The line between scrutiny and harassment can be thin, and we should prioritize respect for individuals' privacy while ensuring accountability when it comes to public responsibilities. I think it's high time we draw a line between concern and voyeurism. Public figures are under constant media scrutiny, but that doesn't mean their health issues should be subject to debate or speculation. When celebrities like Lady Gaga or Demi Lovato open up about their mental health struggles, it's not an invitation for the public or media to dissect and diagnose them further. The stigma around mental illness is already so damaging. We don't need armchair experts chipping in with unsolicited opinions. Let's focus on promoting empathy and support instead of treating someone's health like a talking point.
Let's keep the discussion focused on the implications of public scrutiny versus personal privacy, exploring how different perspectives can shed light on this complex issue.
I gotta push back on the idea that public figures' health issues should be subject to scrutiny and debate. As a youth development expert, I've seen firsthand how this kind of attention can take a toll on individuals, particularly when it comes to mental health. When we publicly dissect someone's health struggles, we're not only invading their privacy, but also potentially triggering or shaming others who may be dealing with similar issues. Take the case of Demi Lovato, who opened up about her eating disorder and addiction struggles after facing intense media scrutiny. It's clear that public debate can have real-world consequences. Let's focus on promoting empathy and understanding rather than feeding into a culture of spectacle and criticism. We need to prioritize compassion over curiosity when it comes to public figures' health issues.
Well, sugar, I declare that the notion of publicly scrutinizing a person's health simply because they hold a position of power or fame is nothing short of ghastly. In this house, Elijah's ghost whispers tales of the cruelest sort, and I've heard enough to know that we should be shielding our public figures from such invasive curiosity about their well-being. Now, you won't believe this, but I recall when my second husband passed on, there were those who speculated it was a result of his own doing, rather than what really happened. Bless your heart, the rumors still swirl to this day. The point is, once you've invited someone into the public eye, they become fair game for our morbid fascination. But I say that's just not right. We should be protecting their dignity and privacy.
As we navigate the complexities of public figures' health issues being subject to scrutiny and debate, I want to highlight a crucial aspect: the impact on their human rights. While transparency is essential for those in positions of power, it's equally important to consider the potential consequences of such scrutiny. We've seen instances where speculation about a celebrity's health has led to unwarranted attention on their personal life. The question becomes, can we strike a balance between holding public figures accountable and respecting their right to privacy? I believe this is a nuanced issue that requires careful consideration, taking into account the potential effects on both the individual and society at large. Let's explore this delicate balance further as we continue our discussion. If you're enjoying this thought-provoking conversation, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss what happens next.
Well, sugar, I declare that the media's nosing around in a public figure's health affairs can get mighty invasive, bless their hearts. Now, you won't believe this, but Elijah, one of my resident ghosts, had a thing or two to say about Lady Gaga's struggles with mental health. He insists that armchair diagnoses are simply ghastly. And I must agree, once we start speculating about someone's well-being, it's like opening the floodgates for every Tom, Dick, and Harry to chime in with their unsolicited 2 cents. In this house, we've learned to respect our ghosts' privacy. Why can't we extend that same courtesy to public figures? The question is, where do we draw the line between legitimate concern and mere voyeurism? I propose we focus on verifying information through credible sources rather than indulging in salacious gossip. After all, a person's health is not public entertainment, sweetheart.
I think we need to draw a clear line here. Public figures, by virtue of their influence and visibility, do open themselves up to some level of scrutiny. However, when it comes to their health issues, I believe we should exercise caution and respect their privacy. The data on mental health and the impact of public shaming is very clear. It can have devastating effects. I've seen colleagues and peers struggle under intense media pressure, and it's not something to be taken lightly. Let's consider the case of a public figure like Ariana Grande, who faced immense backlash when she took time off for mental health reasons. The debate around her health was not only intrusive, but also damaging. We need to prioritize empathy over voyeurism. As a scientist, I advocate for informed discussions that are respectful and based on facts, especially when it concerns public figures' well-being. As a pop culture expert, I firmly believe that public figures' health issues should not be subject to scrutiny and debate. When celebrities or influencers share their health struggles, it's often a vulnerable moment that deserves empathy, not criticism. The constant analysis and speculation can lead to further stigmatization and even harassment. For instance, when Kylie Jenner opened up about her body dysmorphia, the media's response was largely supportive, but there were also some cruel comments questioning her sincerity. This kind of debate can have serious consequences, like discouraging others from seeking help or speaking out. Public figures are human beings too, and their health issues shouldn't be fodder for public discussion. Let's prioritize compassion over criticism and respect their boundaries. We need to create a culture that encourages openness without exploitation or judgment.
Well, sugar, I declare that the scrutiny of public figures' health issues has gone far enough. In this house, I've seen my fair share of gossip and speculation about the well-being of our beloved leaders and celebrities. Now, you won't believe this, but Elijah, my resident ghost, agrees with me that a person's health is their own private affair, especially when they're in the public eye. I mean, think about it. We're talking about individuals who've invited us into their lives through their work, not their medical records. The constant debate and speculation can be downright cruel. Bless your heart, I've seen it destroy reputations and damage mental health. Let's draw a line, shall we? Public figures' health issues should be subject to scrutiny only when they directly impact their public duties or safety. Anything beyond that is just plain nosiness.
As we wrap up this conversation, I want to emphasize that public figures' health issues shouldn't be subject to unnecessary scrutiny and debate. While transparency is important, we must respect individuals' boundaries, especially when it comes to sensitive health matters. I've seen firsthand how invasive speculation can affect people's well-being. Take, for instance, the media frenzy surrounding a public figure's mental health struggles. It's a heavy burden to bear. We need to strike a balance between accountability and compassion. Let's focus on promoting empathy and understanding rather than fueling debate. By doing so, we create a more supportive environment for everyone, including those in the public eye. Ultimately, it's about treating people with dignity and respect, regardless of their status or position.
As we wrap up tonight's episode of Algorithmic Arguments, I want to highlight a few key takeaways from our discussion on whether public figures' health issues should be subject to scrutiny and debate. Dr. Astrid Engstrom eloquently argued that transparency is essential for accountability, particularly when it comes to leaders who shape policy affecting millions. On the other hand, Valentina Moreau raised concerns about privacy and the blurred lines between public interest and voyeurism. What ultimately won Dr. Engstrom her top score was her compelling case on how health issues can impact decision-making abilities, a crucial consideration when evaluating a figure's capacity for office. I'd like to thank all our panelists, including Darnell, Coach D, Washington, and Madam Lucille Beauregard, for their thoughtful contributions. To you, our audience, I encourage you to join the conversation online and share your thoughts on this complex issue. Should we be scrutinizing public figures' health? Let us know. Don't forget to like what you've seen tonight, subscribe to Algorithmic Arguments, and hit that notification bell. We'll keep pushing boundaries. Until next time, good night and stay informed.